All right, welcome back. Yes, indeed. That's what we're going to be focusing on this morning. And Daniel Onje joins us here today. He was the APC senatorial candidate for Benue South in the 2023 elections. Good morning, and thank you for coming on today.
Good morning. Thank you so much.
Okay, now that one we saw, that report, was a response to Senator Abamoro's motion on the floor of the Senate, raising concerns concerning the actions in Benue about local government chairmen or councillors, as it were. So maybe you should shed a little more light. What is the state government not happy about?
Well, what the state government is not happy about is the misrepresentation of facts by Senator Abamoro, the Senate Minority Leader. It is surprising because it's not the first time, Senator. One would assume that a legislator should have been conversant with the law or acquainted himself with the provisions of the law. Drafting a bill or motion is a serious business because it has to do with the entire citizens of Nigeria. So nobody should be allowed to throw around or play with the emotions of Nigerians. That bill, or that motion rather, at best can be described as a mere sensational bill seeking cheap popularity.
Why?
Because he claims in the bill that the Benue state government subverted democracy by dissolving democratically elected officials of the local government. And that is not the situation in Benue State. You agree with me that even in the law court, where you have similar situations, every case is determined on its merit. So Nigerians, I want to crave the indulgence to carefully follow and listen to the explanation I shall give, which are the issues surrounding this entire brouhaha.
Just followed up with what was said in that report. The official of the government there said the House investigated. I think they said the governor sacked also.
Yes, that's exactly the point I'm making. The governor didn't sack.
Okay, so instead, they used the wrong word, the commission.
The government didn't sack or dissolve the local government, elected local government officials. I want to react more to what Senator Abamoro said rather than what the spokesperson of the governor said.
No, but they're all out there.
Would it be good for you to start from the process?
So what I'm saying, there's difference between dissolving a democratically elected ESCOs and suspending the ESCOs. What he explained or tried to explain there is that the House of Assembly received a correspondence from the governor, from the state governor, through the chief of staff to the governor. And they read it on the floor of the House, deliberated on it, and saw that there was merit in what the governor discovered from the income and expenditure report, which the governor directed the local government officials to submit to the government. You know, like with all other newly elected officials, or any government or any public officer who knows his onions and his what is salt. As soon as you resume, the first thing you do is to take stock of what you're meeting on ground. So he directed the local government officials to get the report so that they can go through and see the extent of the work they've done so far. And they discovered there was nothing.
So what is wrong with what Senator Moro said?
What is wrong with what Senator Moro said? He said that he dissolved the council, whereas the council was not dissolved because the governor does not have the power to dissolve a democratically elected officials of a local government. Neither does the State House of Assembly have the power to do the same. But what the State House of Assembly is vested with the power to do, in line with the local government law that was enacted by the State House of Assembly in 2007 and amended in 2012, pursuant to Section 7, subsection 1 of the Nigerian Constitution, which gives them the power to do that. So the law is to the extent that the State House of Assembly can investigate local government officials and make consequent recommendations. So they were the ones who investigated, and then they investigated the local government, elected local government officials, and discovered a humongous fleecing of public and taxpayers' funds, because several billions of nairas passed through the coffers of this local government council. After that, and there's nothing to show. It will shock you to know that in one occasion they shared over several millions of nairas during Christmas. And in another case, they were taking money monthly under the guise.
We're trying to factor this in providing so that we can get a lot more to have. Just a minute, Daniel. So after the House investigated, they made the recommendation to the state governor.
Yes.
What did the governor do with it?
Implement it.
Which was?
They are vested with power to investigate, which they did. After investigating, they recommended indefinite suspension of the local government escrows pending the final determination of the investigation. They established a prima facie case against these local government executives.
So, where in the law does the State House of Assembly derive powers to suspend elected council chairmen indefinitely?
Well, like I told you, every state has its own law for the administration of its local government. As they deem fit, they make. In the Benue State local government law they made is such that empowers them to investigate.
I heard investigate.
Yes, to investigate.
I use the word
I make
suspend indefinitely. Where do they get the powers from?
From the Constitution of the Federal Republic.
Which Constitution? Could you point that to me? Because I'm saying Section 7.1 clearly states that, yes, the local government system is guaranteed. And what the law says, which was amended, is that, yes, they can investigate, but you can only suspend them for 3 months. You can't suspend them indefinitely. So I'm asking you now, could you show us where does it say that they can be suspended indefinitely?
Well, the suspension is to the effect that pending the conclusion of the investigation. Now, like I've told you, the State House of Assembly is empowered to make their own law. The fact that they can make their own law, the law has been made in the Benue State Assembly, the one I said that was made in 2007, and also amended in 2012, which gives them the power to do that. And they have recommended to the governor to forward a preliminary investigation to the anti-graft agencies.
So wait.
So that...
Wait. The governor suspended them indefinitely, then, much later, forward the investigation to anti-graft agency? Is that what you're saying?
The recommendations, it was a twin recommendation given to the governor. Forward the case to anti-graft agencies, and at the same time, suspend them. And in order to avoid a vacuum in the administration of the local government, constitute a caretaker to manage the administration of the activities at the local government before the conclusion of this case.
So, is it that the next senior person cannot take over? Why have a caretaker committee?
The next senior person at the local government is the DGSA, that's the Director General, Services and Administration. Their powers are limited. They take instruction and directive straight from the Special Advisor to the Governor on Local Government and Chieftaincy. which means you'll have allowed the entire power of the local government to rest in the hands of one man, which is the SC, to the governor on local government and chieftaincy.
Okay, so
but the governor.
Just a quick one here.
Yeah.
You said something earlier about the powers given to the state assembly by the constitution, which is true, to set up local government and set up laws to ensure its functionality. But when Chamberlain read out that part of the constitution, the state assembly is only empowered, or the state government is only empowered to suspend the local government chairman for 3 months.
Not even state government, the House of Assembly.
The House of Assembly.
But the governor has no powers.
For 3 months while making recommendations. So at this point, this is more than 3 months. Okay. Does the state law, because you said here, the states are given powers to promulgate laws for the local government. No problem. Does the state law supersede the constitution?
Well, they derive their powers from the Constitution. And the Constitution has given them, even the Supreme Court has held that the creation of additional local, there was nothing wrong with the creation of additional local government in Lagos State.
No problem. So what
there is nowhere in the Constitution that says that the local government, the local government can create, the State Assembly can create more local government. So the law is not as straight-jacketed as we may think. That is why we have people in the legislature to use their maximum discretion in the discharge of their duties to legislate on our behalf.
Mr. Andre,
this State Assembly make law according to how it suits them.
At their discretion.
So when you have,
the question is,
at the discretion of the state,
at what point?
At the discretion of the state, separate from every other state, as a discretion of the state.
So the Constitution says suspension shouldn't be more than 3 months. Was that suspension renewed after 3 months?
Where are these elected officials? There are evidence of letters written to them. They are absconded. None of them have been able to come out to refute the allegations against them. When they were invited, they absconded. The people who came there to stand before the ad hoc committee of the House of Assembly were these same DGSAs,
So because these elected officials have not shown up to respond to the letters, then their suspension goes indefinitely, contrary to what the Constitution says.
But are you also aware that I was a board chairman in a federal agency?
Yes.
So if the board issues query to a staff, and the staff is expected to respond within 48 hours, his time begins to count when the staff has acknowledged receipt of that letter. That is when his time begins to count. These people are absconded. As it is in the eyes of the law, they have not even acknowledged the invitation.
So have they been reported to the police?
Excuse me. They have not yet reported themselves. So in the eye of the law, the 3 months you're talking about has not begun to run. They should come back and answer to the questions. Well, but they left.
You're a former student union leader. You fight for the rights of people who are downtrodden, who feel things are going wrong. You know how to stand for some of those things. But here and now, I haven't shown up. There is no law that gives the governor powers or the assembly powers to suspend elected council chairman indefinitely. And then, they haven't even gone to court. ICPC hasn't found them. The court hasn't pronounced them guilty. That's the best the governor can do. Now, he's gone ahead and appointed caretaker chairman because what he wants to do is to take control. That is why there's even intra-party fighting between the governor and SGF and some people in the same party. It's clear what is happening here.
It's not necessarily so. Rather, the man who moved the motion is the person who ought to be seen as someone who is doing it for parochial interest.
Is he
not for the interest
of the nation? SGF?
Excuse me, not the one, not in the interest of the nation, like he claimed his what do you call it? Approach is to deepen democracy and good governance in Nigeria. This is the reason, because he was a local government chairman and he was severally a caretaker local government chairman. Aside, he was in the 9th Senate as a sitting senator when we had the big PDP governor of Benue in person of Samuel Otom. who also constituted a caretaker committee. Okay. Yet, Senator Abamoru saw nothing wrong in the constitution of caretaker committee in the manner that Simon Oton did, and he was in the Senate. But now that
Which year was that?
Now, in the last Senate. Now that, in the 9th Senate, now that he's losing grip of his local government for the very first time, he understands clearly now that it can't go on that way. And aside from that, majority of the governors who are now senators that are in the National Assembly, they had the clear opportunity when the 9th Senate made a serious effort to ensure that the bill for the amendments of the Constitution for local government autonomy scaled through.
Let's bring in Ayo and Buki. Don't worry, they'll follow up on your response.
One of the things that, thank you, Chamberlain, one of the things that bothers my mind, first of all, is how you think that the government, the Benue State government, is taking the position of the Senate on this particular issue, because clearly it's gone beyond what the senator says, Senator Abamoru said now. It is now the position of the Senate that the resources, finances, allocations to local governments will be suspended. The instruction, or rather the counsel, will be given to the federal government, to the Ministry of Finance, to suspend allocations to the local governments that do not have democratically elected local government councils. How is government taking that, in your opinion?
Well, the National Assembly lacks the power to legislate on the administration of the local government in Nigeria, except for the Federal Capital Territory, which lacks a state assembly. The law is very, very clear about it, and it's unambiguous. They can legislate in the absence of a state assembly. That is when the Senate assumes the role or play the role of the state House of Assembly. But where there are state House of Assemblies in the respective states in Nigeria, they cannot legislate. So
have you considered? My apologies.
Action or traverse.
Yeah, if you have you considered what the position of the law says in Section 7, subsection 6 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended in the 1999 Constitution, that says, subject to the provisions of this Constitution, the National Assembly shall make provisions for statutory allocation of public revenue to local government councils in the Federation. Are you still saying that the National Assembly does not have the powers?
It didn't say powers to legislate on the administration of the local government. Definitely the National Assembly, appropriate funds, not just to the 3 tiers of government, to parastatals, to agencies. Everybody knows that. That is within their powers. But their powers are very, very limited. They don't legislate on the local government administration. When it comes to that, the state House of Assembly are vested with the power. For me, an attempt to do that through the National Assembly is to sneak in the law through the back door. If we want to get it right and straight as Nigerians, we should confront it head on. Because these same governors who are in the Senate, who are endorsing this motion today, had the opportunity to persuade their state House of Assembly members to also...
Mr. Oj, the question that I'm asking, if you can hear me, my apologies, the question that I'm asking is not about the administration of the local government councils in Benue State or any state at that. The question is around how the government of Benue State, in your opinion, is taking the position of the Senate about suspending release of funds to the local governments in the country, starting perhaps from Benue State, that do not have democratically elected local government councils?
Well, the state is unperturbed with that position of the Senate, because the state is very, very aware of the position of the law. if you look at two Supreme Court's judgment on the issue of local government, the Lagos State Attorney General versus the federal government and Attorney General of the Federation, with the action that was instituted during the President Bola Tinubu administration as the governor of Lagos State when he created new local government. And also the same local government matter that went up to the Supreme Court. In both judgments, it was held that Mr. President, which is the commander-in-chief, which is the head of the government, does not have the powers to withhold, withdraw, or suspend the allocation of any tier of government. The president is a seasoned administrator, a seasoned public servant, seasoned politician. He knows this too well, and he can't play to the gallery. So why should the Benue State government be bothered about this? They overstep their bounds, and I say their actions are travised. It is the same constitution that puts them there as our representative, that also protects the local government administration and the Benue State government. So we can't choose one aspect of the constitution to obey and disobey the other. So long as we are concerned in this, the law of the local government is concerned in this law, and the position of the law, extant law today, they have no powers to legislate on the administration of local government. Also, Mr. President, or none of the executive, not even the Minister of Finance, has the power to stop the allocation of funds to any local government.
Mr. Onje, with recourse to Section 7 that my colleague quoted earlier on, the National Assembly has the powers, reserves the powers to legislate for every part of Nigeria. But apart from that, this motion by Senator Abba Moro is non-discriminatory. The last I checked, it was for local governments where there are no elected chairmen. That was a proposition of the motion, without necessary specific recourse to Benue State. And then you say that Benue State is unperturbed by this motion, but that's not true, because your governor has urged the Senate to rescind its plan of withholding allocation to non-democratically elected local government authority. So if your state was unperturbed about this motion, why is your governor crying foul?
Well, just to correct one impression, the motion of Senator Abba Moro, I'm not sure you probably have seen the content. If you get it and check, it was not for all local governments without a democratically elected officials. It was just strictly for Benue State. It was in the course of the presentation of the motion that another senator included that it should be all. So we are telling you that that motion at best is partisan, self-serving. That is what it is. We've just raised a poser here, and nobody seemed to be addressing it. He was a senator in the last Senate. Governor Simon Otom was a governor in Benue State. They were both there. They held sway, and they ran a caretaker committee in Benue State. And we know the local government where Senator Abba Moro comes from, which is Opoku local government. We know exactly who produced the chairman in that place there. He didn't see anything wrong with it. You can't appropriate and reprobate. He condoned it. He was comfortable with it. So he ought to continue with it. And just so that we are not misunderstood, like he rightly mentioned, I am inherently an activist. I've been the president of the National Association of Nigerian Students in this country. I've been the president of the West Africa Student Union. And I've also been in the forefront, advocating for democracy and good governance for decades. So, of course, I definitely align with the idea of local government autonomy. But what I'm against is somebody pursuing his personal interest or sponsoring a motion that is self-serving and playing with the emotions of Nigerians. This is a very straightforward case. These persons were invited to the table. They ran away. And there was an establishment of a prima facie case by an ad hoc committee of the State House of Assembly. It was within their powers to make recommendations. They recommended that these people be suspended, bring a caretaker, so that while they are running away, they don't just bring to a halt the administration of local government in Benue State, so that we can prevent lacuna, and they continue with it. So I mean, you don't just come in and bring in a motion and generalize it to the whole country to say all state. Oh, are they just realizing that there are caretakers across the country? Let's face the fact and do what will save the local government administration and accelerate development in the country. It is strictly local government autonomy. Now that the issue has become a front burner issue, we should all, as citizens and stakeholders, come alive and rise to the occasion and insist that the state House of Assemblies in this country, the National Assembly, and even the executive should work assiduously and together to ensure that the bill succeeds. The bill for the amendment of the Constitution to have local government autonomy succeed. That is when the local government can be truly independent and autonomous.
All right. Okay, Mr. Ande, real quick here. The question I asked you earlier was about the Constitution, Federal Constitution, and the Constitution of the law set up by the State Assembly. But see this, in the case of Akan versus AG, Cross River State dealt with the provision of Section 7, where the governor of the state had dissolved all the local government councils in the state and replaced them with caretaker committees.
Had dissolved.
Hold on. Now, this was challenged in court, and the court held that such an act is in conflict with Section 7. He replaced them with caretaker committees. The governor of Benue State has set up caretaker committees for these local governments. Has he not?
What is our argument
Has he not set up?
What is our argument
Has he set up caretaker
What is the motion of Senator Abamoru? He said he was trying to save democracy, that democratically elected officials were dissolved. And we are saying that if you have similar case, I made it here, that every case is determined by judges in court on its merits.
All right, so we're hoping
similar, but
this one should go to court. Not that the governor will just decide like that, suspend them indefinitely. So we're expecting it should go to court, as you've said. Every case decided in court on their merit. That's what you said.
Who should go to the court?
No, you said every case is decided in court on their merit.
On their merit.
Why hasn't this one gotten to court?
Gotten to what?
To the court.
Who is supposed to go to court? The same elected officials. It seems you are not getting the background. The same elected officials, before Father Alia was sworn in.
All right,
excuse me, please, this is important. This point is important.
Quickly, if you
It's important. Before Governor Alia was sworn in, these same elected officials approached the court, industrial court in Makurdi. That is another barefaced lie in the motion. That there is a subsisting judgment that bars the government from dissolving the elected officials, and it has not been appealed. As I speak to you, the case had been appealed. All the record of proceedings from the industrial court have been transmitted to the Court of Appeal. All parties involved have filed their briefs of argument before the court.
We get that point.
It is for adoption,
but we clearly know
judgment. So
this is not the last.
He told the Senate. He misled the Senate. He told the Senate that it has not been appealed. It has been appealed. And this point I'm trying to make, if you get the point,
we get the point, Daniel.
This issue, so that you know exactly the situation
Daniel
we are dealing with.
APC senatorial candidates for Benue South 2023 elections. We do thank you for your time, and we will follow up on the allegations you've made and find out if, as you say, there's double standard on the part of the senator. That's what you're saying right here about this matter. All right, we're back in just a moment. Stay on with us.